I'm Billy S, welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at the most annoying boss from each Soulsborne game. Now this doesn't necessarily mean the worst boss of each game per se, just the ones that I find the most annoying to fight for whatever reason. There might be some overlap, but overall I'm looking for fights that may have annoying mechanics, bad placement within the game, stuff like that. If you're interested in the most annoying levels in each Soulsborne game, I recently did a video on that, there'll be a link in the description. So without further ado, the most annoying boss in each Soulsborne game, ranked. Let me know your most annoying boss down below. For Demon Souls, this was not a hard decision at all, as I've selected the Man-Eaters from 3-2. Being the first proper gank fight in the series, and the blueprint for the gargoyle fights throughout FromSoft's library, I do need to give them a little bit of respect. But I can't ignore that any time I face the Man-Eaters, there's one crucial aspect of their battle that I have to deal with. Their absolutely atrocious AI. The category for this video is annoying boss fights, so each of these bosses on this list has an aspect about them that makes them fucking annoying to me in one way or another, and I'd say not being able to hit the boss because they decide to fly away for 20 seconds, hovering in midair doing absolutely nothing, is a valid complaint. When their movesets line up, the fight is actually relatively fun. I like their sonic screech attacks, the melee swings hit relatively hard. They have the makings of the usual decent gank boss fight, but it means nothing if whether you have an easy or hard time depends on their AI deciding to either work with or against you on any given attempt. Some players have even reported that the Man-Eaters have just flown away from the arena entirely, forcing them to kill themselves and restart the fight. Combined with a narrow arena where getting blasted off or rolling one too many times is a common occurrence, and you'll find yourself getting annoyed at this pair just the same as me. Every other fight in the game has a predictability to it. Dragon God is all about timing, Flame Lurker is about dodging and being careful of your positioning. The Man-Eaters, they say fuck that and let chaos reign, and I do not respect it. For Dark Souls, I had two options for today's list. The Capra Demons are runner-up, what with the annoyingly cramped arena, the two dogs that can instantly kill you if you have a poor initial roll upon entering the Fog Gate, and the rather painful run back through Lower Undead Burg. But Capra's got nothing on the bed of chaos. While I hold a soft spot for the Witch of Izalith's final form, I'm not insane. It's easily the most annoying fight in the game, and perhaps the most annoying fight in the series, what with its focus on platforming above all else. Destroying the two roots so you can reach the Chaos Bug at the center of the plant mass is one thing, but being expected to react near immediately to falling floors and piecing together a route that avoids the worst of the danger while also timing it so you don't get hit by the Bed of Chaos's sweeping branch attacks, it's asking too much of the player. Thank God our progress gets saved upon each attempt, and the floors stay destroyed when you return so you're able to see your path clearly on a repeat run. It's just a shame that the boss runbacks are tedious as fuck and only serve to waste your time, be it going from Daughters of Chaos, or from Lost Izalith's hidden bonfire, or God forbid, the starting bonfire of Lost Izalith for people who didn't fully explore the zone. There is no fight in the series that has wasted my time more than the Bed of Chaos, and even after understanding the timing for its attacks, I still find myself catching strays every once in a while. Then there's the audacity of it being able to cast Firestorm on you after you've made it to the main routes, which would surely be my 13th reason why if I died before the Chaos Bug. There's a reason why people despise this boss, and even if I love it with all of my heart, there's no denying it's a fucking annoying experience. For Dark Souls 2, I've decided to be a bit out of the box today, though the boss I've chosen actually suffers from a similar issue to Bed of Chaos, in that it wastes so much of our time with one of the worst runbacks in the series. And I'm not talking about Ludden for once. I'm talking about Dark Lurker. That's right, the hidden optional caster of Dark Souls 2 has finally drawn my ire. For despite being one of the best bosses in the game and one of the best mage fights in the series, the sheer level of pain that is going through the dark chasm of old every time I want to refight this boss is so fucking annoying. Not only do you have to kill a host of enemies to access the exit leading to Dark Lurker, but you have to spend a human effigy just to enter the chasm. This is the only boss I can think of in the series that actively forces you to pay in order to have a chance of fighting it. There's a reason why this fight just isn't as well known as others in the series, because how many people who played Dark Souls 2 actually bothered to try and defeat Dark Lurker? How many people were aware he existed in the first place? You'd be surprised by the results. Then you actually reach the fight, and his kit is honestly pretty tame, at least for Dark Souls 2's standards. And the clone mechanic is actually a lot of fun, as you can damage both enemies to hurt the communal health bar. The only issue is that he has an explosive projectile that can 1 or 2 shot strong players. But by god, the work you have to put in to even interact with this fight in the first place, followed by the amount of work you have to put in to rematch the boss if you die, I genuinely cannot say in good conscience that it's worth the price of admission. For Bloodborne, while I'm sure everyone was expecting me to put Mikolash on this list because yes, his fight is irritating, and his one-shot potential from his arcane magic is downright deplorable, I still have a soft spot for his character, and his dialogue is just iconic enough that it doesn't make me want to scream every time I refight him. Nah, Rom the Vacuous Spider, take your spot as the annoying diva you are, because fighting her on the Moonlight Lake is about as annoying a fight as you can get in Bloodborne. The first third is relatively tame, as Rom will just sit there looking like a baked potato as you wail on her while dodging her harder-hitting children. It can be very annoying having to clear out the spiders each time she spawns them, what with their penchant for blocking attacks from the front due to their hard heads, which makes them more inconvenient to fight than your regular video game spider. But then add Rom using her magic to send meteors your way for 2/3 of the fight, and how you consistently have to run in, do damage, back off, kill a spider, pray you get a moment of downtime, rinse and repeat. No thanks, I'd rather not. For me, Rom is about killing her as quickly as possible, so that I'm in that situation for as little time as possible. Because the longer this fight lasts, the more annoying everything becomes. More spiders swarming the battlefield, more magic being launched in your direction, maybe she'll release an AoE to fuck with you and force you to back off, prolonging the fight even more. And it's frustrating because she has an appearance in the Chalice dungeons where they gave her a room with pillars to block the magic, which made her so much more fun to fight as a result. Tackling her in a void where the only way to survive is to just run in a direction and pray, it isn't fun game design. It's annoying and frustrating and doesn't allow for any player expression or freedom in how to tackle her fight. And no other battle in the game is remotely like this, not even Mikolash. Get in the bin, Rom, we don't want you here. But you know what we do want here? You, the viewer, watching at home. We're trying to reach 30,000 subscribers by the end of the year. If you want to help support the channel and you really like what you see, consider parrying that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all of my future videos, or consider going the extra mile and become a channel member. It gets you early access to future videos, it gets you a shout out in the description and at the end of every video as well, and there may be some special Let's Play perks coming in the near future. Ooh. Anyway, back to some annoying bosses. Dark Souls 3, what have you got? For Dark Souls 3, both of my potential picks came from the early game. Deacons of the Deep were my runner-up, just because if you go against them without a well-leveled weapon, it's like trying to use a broken-down lawnmower on grass. You'll get a few cuts here and there, but the job isn't going to be clean. However, I appreciate the depth of the second half of the fight, with the different deacons and their abilities to buff the Archdeacon. So my pick has to go to the Curse-Rotted Greatwood, who I personally find annoying because it's another case of a fight that doesn't allow for player expression. There's only one way to win, by destroying the carefully placed egg sacs on the body, and it makes every rematch against this boss feel the exact same. There's no variance to the battle, which makes it very boring to refight compared to the rest of the boss roster. And the problem, my main annoyance, is that you almost always want to refight it because it drops the transposing kiln, you know, the item Ludleth needs to transpose your boss souls. So if you want a fancy new boss weapon or spell or talisman, you have no choice but to fight this Great Wood every single playthrough, which makes the repetitive nature of the strategy you use to defeat him that much more annoying. If Phase 2 ditched the sacks and instead had a more traditional fight where the hand was the only weak spot, maybe I'd enjoy the pace more. It'd still be easy and a bit of a letdown because the design of this fight is inherently flawed, but I think I'd enjoy it a tad more. I just can't stand fights that don't engage with the player beyond a surface level, and putting such an important item behind it only exacerbates the issue. I will never like this boss, and I will always find it annoying. For Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, I have 2 bosses I've nominated for this role, because to be blunt with you all, there are 2 fights in the game that annoy me for similar reasons, and I can't differentiate between them. They are the Headless Ape rematch with his bride, and the Corrupted Monk fight in Meevee Village. The former is a rematch against a boss you've literally just defeated, except this time he's joined by his gal pal, who uses the same moveset as the original Guardian Ape. There's no rhyme or reason to the encounter, and it irritates me because neither of the bosses are balanced around each other's moveset. It's a simple rehash that serves to bolster the boss count of the game, and it's so blatant padding that I find myself irrationally annoyed every time I think about it. The Corrupted Monk, meanwhile, is a precursor to the true Corrupted Monk fight you'll face soon after. Despite this being the first encounter with this boss, it also feels like padding designed to boost the boss roster, and lessens the impact of the true Corrupted Monk when you actually encounter them, as now you know some of their moveset. While I prefer the Corrupted Monk's fight because of the intense health bar and the amount of posture damage you need to get anywhere, plus its weakness to a ton of shinobi tools and items, I still think the game would have been better had they replaced the Corrupted Monk boss with Orin of the Water. She's relevant to a character NPC quest, has a unique moveset that, had she been an official boss, could have been expanded slightly to create a special encounter to end Meevee Village, and she just feels more fitting for the location. Both bosses in this entry are here to add extra numbers to Sekiro's boss count, and hot take, neither of them add anything to the overall plot. Make the change I suggested for Meevee Village and the game will end up better for it, while the Guardian Ape refight is completely optional depending on your order of events, which goes to show how much of an afterthought it really was. When the rest of the roster is such a stellar lineup, these rehashes are only highlighted that much more for their laziness, and I just can't help being annoyed. For Elden Ring, we're actually dipping into Shadow of the Erdtree for this one, as we take another look at Jory, Elder Inquisitor. Now, my boyfriend actually inspired this entry, as he's currently playing through the DLC as part of a video we're doing for the channel, and I knew with his character's build, he was gonna be miserable against Jory. He plays this strong tank gal called Woedenaz, who has a heavy weapon, a heavy shield, and can poise tank everything you throw at her. In short, she's an icon, a legend, and truly the moment. But somehow skinny little Jory has more poise than her. His magic spam on its own is fine, a bit over the top, and Spira being cast 9 times in succession can be very irritating, especially if you get stagger caught between the blasts, but it's doable. The summons on their own are also fine, as they disappear after their attacks, die in one hit, and don't stay too long. The problem is that the overlap between what Jory does and what the summons do is so overwhelmingly in favor of the boss that it's like getting Gatling gunned with magic every time you fight him. I wish his summons would appear, do an attack immediately, and then vanish. Instead, they get to shuffle towards you and stick around for a little while before attacking, which kept catching my partner off guard. I also think the Inquisitor summons that use the small arc magic are a bit much, but that's just me. It doesn't matter that Jory's summons are all pattern-based and predictable when the sheer onslaught of damage they're able to do outweighs any benefit she might have. The only way my partner could win was to rush Jory every chance he got. If, when you hit Jory, it dispelled any summons he'd created, I think the fight would be far more enjoyable, and you'd be able to develop more complex summon patterns around that mechanic. As it stands, Jory is just a caster's worst nightmare, and seeing his fight with fresh eyes shows that I was truly on crack when I tried defending this boss in my initial rankings. I still see so much potential here for a Summoner Boss moveset, but this wasn't the execution. And we have to fight him anytime we want to rematch Midra? That's so annoying. And that's my list. Which boss is the most annoying to you? Let me know down below, and be sure to parry that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all of my future videos. My social medias are on screen now, feel free to follow me if you feel comfortable. I recommend my Twitter or my Discord. My Twitter is the best place to go. Got a YouTube community tab as well, we post there sometimes, love it. Shout out to my YouTube channel members for supporting me for another month, you guys are amazing, thank you so much. And I'll see you all next time for another video. Adios!